In 1992, a quiet Ohio town believed one girl's disappearance will remain an unsolved mystery forever. But 2 decades later, a single strand of DNA turned her case into a real-life thriller with an ending no one saw coming. This isn't fiction. This is the chilling story of Rachel Greene, the girl whose case played out like a Hollywood plot twist. It was a fall semester of 1992 in the small college town of Athens, Ohio. 19-year-old Rachel Greene was a second-year student at Ohio University. Bright, responsible, and known for her sharp wit. On the night of October 12th, she left the campus library just after 9 p.m. She told a friend she planned to drive home, grab some food, and call her mother. But Rachel never made it. By morning, her blue Honda Civic was discovered parked near a wooded trail not far from the Hocking River. The keys were still in the ignition. Her purse sat in the passenger seat. And chillingly, the driver's door was cracked open, as though she had been interrupted mid-step. There was no sign of Rachel, no footprints leading into the woods, no forced entry to the car, just the eerie silence of a life interrupted. Police launched a full-scale search. Helicopters scanned the woods. Divers combed the river. Volunteers blanketed the area with flyers. But Rachel seemed to have vanished into thin air. Detectives worked the case methodically. They interviewed classmates, professors, and friends. Everyone described Rachel as grounded. She wasn't the type to run away. Security logs from the library confirmed she left alone that night. A few people recalled seeing a beat-up gray truck parked near the trail where her car was found. Then came the only physical evidence. On Rachel's jacket, a single hair strand that didn't belong to her. In 1992, DNA technology was still in its infancy. The strand was bagged, logged, and stored. But at the time, it was like holding a lock safe without the key. Weeks passed, then months. By Christmas, the search had slowed. Rachel's parents, Tom and Linda Greene, held vigils, clinging to hope. Detectives chased dozens of leads. A truck driver arrested in Kentucky claimed he saw a girl matching her description. False lead. A jailhouse informant pointed to a supposed serial predator. No DNA match. Psychics wrote letters claiming visions of Rachel's body near water and trees. Nothing came of it. As years turned into decades, Rachel's case became one of Ohio's longest-running mysteries. It was painful, especially in such a small town. Each anniversary brought renewed grief for her family. Candles, prayers, unanswered questions. The Greenes never stopped pressing the police. They kept Rachel's room untouched, a shrine to the daughter who never came home. But for investigators, the case sat in a cold case cabinet, with one haunting piece of evidence gathering dust, the single strand of hair. Fast forward to 2011, advances in forensic genealogy were revolutionizing unsolved cases. Police departments across the U.S. began reopening files once thought impossible to solve. Rachel's case was among them. The old hair sample was submitted for reanalysis. This time, instead of just cataloging it, scientists ran it through a genealogy database. What came back stunned investigators: a distant relative match. The system flagged a family line in Athens County. With meticulous work, genealogists built a family tree. One branch pointed directly to a man who had lived just 3 miles from Rachel's campus apartment. His name, Harold Trent. At first glance, Harold seemed ordinary. He was a mechanic, married briefly in the 80s, divorced, no kids. By 1992, he was living quietly on the edge of town, driving. Investigators realized with chill a beat-up gray truck. Detectives began surveillance. They needed confirmation. One afternoon, Harold stopped at a gas station and tossed a coffee cup in the trash. Police collected it. The results came back quickly. The DNA matched the hair on Rachel's jacket. When police confronted Harold, he didn't fight. Instead, he slumped in his chair, pale, and whispered, "I knew this day would come." During interrogation, the truth unfolded like something from a crime thriller. Harold admitted he had followed Rachel the night she disappeared. He said he had watched her for weeks, describing her as too perfect, like someone written for a movie. He confessed to abducting Rachel near the trail, overpowering her, and taking her to a remote property. There, He kept journals detailing his obsession. The entries read more like scripts and diaries, describing scenes, dialogue, and endings. For Rachel, the ending was tragic. Her body had been buried in a shallow grave on Harold's old land, which police excavated in 2012. The discovery gave the Greenes a closure they had begged for, though it came with unimaginable pain. In 2013, Harold Trent stood trial. Prosecutors presented the DNA match, his journals, and his own chilling confession. Jurors were horrified to read how Harold treated Rachel as if she were a fictional character, erasing her humanity. The defense argued Harold was mentally ill, but the jury didn't buy it. After just 6 hours of deliberation, Harold was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. In court, Linda Greene addressed him directly. "You thought you were writing a story. But Rachel was not your character. She was our daughter. And now your story ends here." The case became a landmark, one of the earliest in Ohio solved using forensic genealogy. It was featured in documentaries and crime shows as an example of how science could unlock the coldest mysteries. For the Greene family, the resolution was bittersweet. They had answers, but no Rachel. Her mother said, "It's not the ending we prayed for, but at least it's an ending." For Athens, Ohio, the case was a scar that would never fully heal. People still remember the vigils, the flyers, and the silence of that fall night in 1992. And for true crime history, Rachel Greene's case became the ultimate reminder. Sometimes justice doesn't arrive quickly. Sometimes it takes decades. But when it does, it feels like the final act of a chilling movie, one where truth is stranger than fiction.